Now at 7, how a program is bringing new homes to the Navajo Nation and how University of Utah students are playing a key role in making it happen. Plus,
the way that they drove that day took my daughter's life.
Turning grief into a message for change. See what a mother of a teenager hit and killed by a car in Layton is encouraging other drivers to do. And arrest records released for the man accused of running his wife over with a car, killing her. What officers say they noticed about the suspect now in jail.
Live from Utah's CW30, ABC4 News at 7 starts now.
Good evening. Thank you for watching ABC4 News at 7 on the CW30. I'm Jordan Burrows filling in for Courtney Johns. Tonight, we start with the show with our top 7 stories at 7 p.m. We are learning new information about the man arrested and accused of running his wife over with an SUV and killing her. According to arresting documents, 38-year-old Sean Sturgeon appeared to be under the influence, reporting he had bloodshot, glassy eyes and a strong odor of alcohol coming from his car. Police say Sturgeon ran over his wife, 29-year-old Charlotte Sturgeon, in the airport's short-term parking garage Monday evening. Airport surveillance cameras reportedly show the suspect placing his child in the car before getting into the driver's seat. Police said the suspect's wife was still standing at the car's rear passenger door when he reversed the car, hitting her. Police booked him into the Salt Lake County Jail for automobile homicide. The murder trial for the accused killer of 2 teenagers in Utah County is stretching into its 5th week. Today, several phone call recordings between Jared Baum, his former girlfriend Morgan Lewis, and current girlfriend Amber Howell played in the courtroom. One of the calls, Baum and Amber are heard laughing about missing posters for being torn down.
The citizens of Eureka, Utah, we need your help. Oh, quit laughing, Amber. Really? This is awful. So somebody in your town is going and ripping up posters.
That's terrible.
Prosecutors say the calls from prison were being recorded before and after Baum was officially charged with the murders of killing 18-year-old Riley Powell and 17-year-old Braylon Breezy Otterson, in 2017. Pilots at Delta say they're picketing at airports around the country to try and send a message to their management. Their next stop is Salt Lake City International Airport. They say they're overworked and tired. Delta's 13,500 pilots with the Airline Pilots Association Union are currently fighting for a new contract. Delta pilot Captain Evan Bach tells ABC4 he and his colleagues are fighting for change.
The airline is staffing more flights than pilots that they have available to do the flying. And our pilots who were frontline leaders during the pandemic have picked up a record amount of overtime.
Delta pilots and pilots from some other airlines will be at the Terminal 1 departures on Thursday from 10 in the morning to noon. After this stop, they will also picket at airports in Detroit, Seattle, and Minneapolis. High winds are tipping over semi-trucks on I-80. Because of this, the Utah Department of Transportation and truckers are taking precautions to stay safe. UDOT says winds from 50 to 55 miles per hour can be enough to tip over semi-trucks with light loads or push them into other lanes. Some companies are requiring drivers to pull off the road and find a safe place to park when there's a high wind advisory, and truckers are saying they choose to slow down when they feel these strong winds.
It's kind of like a roller coaster ride, to explain it best I can, because you never know where or how it's going to rock you around.
It's pushing you back and forth. All you can do is just make adjustments with your steering wheel.
UDOT is working closely with truck drivers and getting the word out through alerts, social media, and the Utah Trucking Association to keep drivers safe. They say for any driver in high winds, it's best to slow down and keep your distance from semi-trucks. Local police agencies are continuing to warn drivers on the dangers of not paying attention at the wheel. It's the 5th day of Distracted Driving Awareness Month, and officers say the consequences could cost more than a traffic ticket. One mom knows this heartbreak firsthand. Bailey DiBernardo died in January of 2016 when 2 vehicles hit her while she was crossing a Layton crosswalk. Her mom, Christina Morris, says while the memories won't bring her back, she hopes her messages will keep someone else from being a distracted driving victim.
A lot needs to change. You know, we need to take driving more serious, and we need to be responsible behind the wheel, and we need to continue to educate, and there's a lot of work to be done.
Morris says her hope is that people will be more aware behind the wheel so more people don't lose their lives due to a deadly split decision. The University of Utah is working with Navajo Nation to build sustainable, affordable homes for people in the community. The dean of the School of Architecture and Planning for the university says they started the Design Build Utah program 2 decades ago. They did this after seeing a need with residents of the Native communities in San Juan County. As of this year, 16 houses and several projects have been constructed in the area by students.
Part of the architectural challenge is to try and figure out and how to supply various energy needs, water and so forth locally on site.
Each year, recipients are picked based on recommendations of the Utah Navajo Trust and local chapter houses. A Utah family separated by the war in Ukraine is finally reunited today. Anna and Bradley Harrison got separated when she tried to flee the war. Bradley had been going back and forth between Utah and Ukraine trying to get Anna a green card. But last week when she tried to enter the United States, she got detained at the border. Details about how they finally reunited are limited, but we do know a Utah state senator has been working with the family on their immigration issues and says he learned about the struggles and wanted to help. Lawmakers want to find out if corporations are taking advantage of Americans and fueling inflation. What members of Congress think is the solution. And you're taking a live look towards downtown Salt Lake City through our doTERRA camera. We started off the day with some gloomy weather and even a little snow. Now seeing nothing but blue skies. We'll have a full report in Utah's most accurate forecast.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Alana Brophy. Weather rates certified 11 years in a row.
This is what spring in Utah looks like. Well, it was this morning in Utah County. Woodland Hills, we've got the wild turkeys gobbling up food, but also snow on the ground, 3 inches. Recorded there in Woodland Hills. Thanks to Peggy Sorensen for sending that our way. Many of us woke up to some spring snow in the northern half of the state on the grassy areas, but at this hour, that wet weather waning. We've got gusty conditions holding on with a couple of wind advisories holding steady. We will see the winds wanting to stick around for a portion of the state. Cold temperatures into tonight, and if you like the warmth, we do rebound. I'll show you exactly when and how long the warmth sticks around before, well, another little quick hit from the cold. Very, very active in Utah when it comes to our spring conditions. Taking a look at what it looked like at downtown Salt Lake City from the ABC4 camera here at the studio. Our Colonial Flag Tower camera showing that we had breezy conditions throughout the valleys and that really is the case as we make it through the evening. We won't really see those winds relax until tomorrow, and we had some big gusts. Our higher peaks picking up big numbers, 97 miles per hour at a peak just above Manti, 74 miles per hour at Snow Basin, Snowbirds, the mountains, getting gusty conditions, but also Evanston and Price, where that high wind warning was in effect and holding steady. We saw many gusts in the 50s throughout the state. That does include places like Park Valley, Promontory Point, but Sugar House clocking a 53 mile per hour wind gust. We still have those active alerts starting to dwindle tonight, many of them expiring at 6, some holding on through midnight, mainly on the eastern side of the state. Those current wind gusts posting big numbers in Cache Valley, Evanston, Castle Country, Moab. So we are not finished, and we won't be. The wind switched directions today after the cold front came through, so a more northwesterly flow, which feels chilly. We are going to see the system to the north exit, and when it does, that's when we'll truly relax, but the winds hold on until it totally clears the area. The cold front swept through southern Utah, and that will open the door for cooler air to move into the southern half of the state as we head into tomorrow. The precipitation was showery in northern Utah and has since dwindled. We saw those snow levels dropping. Temperatures were below average today. We're going to stay in the 40s and bottom out right around freezing. Many locations will dip below that into tonight. So if you've got sensitive vegetation, maybe the fruit trees are blooming, you want to be careful with those. Frigid for tonight with a lot of 20s expected, especially on the eastern side of the state. We'll stay below average with daytime highs for tomorrow. It will be sunny. It will be dry, but it'll be a little cooler. That northwest flow always kind of gets you. And then heading into Thursday, more sunshine, high pressure takes control, and the temperatures definitely going to rebound. Okay, so Uinta Basin and Grand County, the two areas that have a freeze warning going into effect at midnight. These areas dropping into the low to mid 20s for overnight lows. So this is the spot you want to be extra careful if you've got that sensitive vegetation. 40s and 50s for tomorrow. We'll see 60 in Moab, low 60s in the Four Corners, 70s in St. George, and that's a step back from where they were. We're going to see a mix of 50s along the I-15 corridor. St. George will warm back up into the 80s as we make it through the weekend. The winds will take hold towards the end of the weekend and into next week, and you notice those temperatures take a tumble. Wasatch Front has the chance of wet weather as a series of fronts will impact us for the weekend. Our warming trend through Friday looks pretty nice. Sunshine on Friday, and then another chance of some spring snow by Tuesday. To stay on top of any weather changes, download the ABC4 Weather app. It's really easy to do. You take a picture of that QR code that you just popped up on your screen with your phone. It takes you to the App Store. You can download for free, and we can be there for you.
Thank you very much, Alana. Talks on the Hill about another round of COVID relief funding, but not everyone is on board. Where the money will go if it goes through. Lawmakers want to find out if corporations are taking advantage of Americans and fueling inflation. Basil John reports as prices continue to go up due to inflation.
Some members of Congress are worried this will further separate average Americans from the top 1%, while others say companies are not the problem. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders says big corporations are using the pandemic and war in Ukraine to make money.
During all of this instability, that this be a moment in which large corporations continue to enjoy huge profits.
During a Senate Budget Committee hearing, Sanders accused companies like Tyson and Amazon, who he said prioritize corporate greed, for causing inflation.
Corporations are making record-breaking profits, and over 700 billionaires in America became nearly $2 trillion wealthier.
Rhode Island Senator Sheldon Whitehouse says competition usually drives the price of items down, but there isn't enough in the gas or meat industry.
Is there something unusual about those two markets that seemingly causes this market theory not to pertain in those markets?
A relatively few number of producers who can easily coordinate their production.
Sanders and Whitehouse believe these corporations deserve a windfall tax for their profiteering, but Republicans say Democrats are pointing the finger at the wrong culprit.
Best cause for inflation lies in the policy choices of this administration.
South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham says higher corporate taxes aren't a solution.
If we impose new taxes now on businesses who've changed their business model in light of COVID, we're going to make a huge mistake.
Graham says this issue should be decided by voters in November.
That was Nexstar's Basil John reporting. Today, former President Barack Obama returned to the White House to celebrate the Affordable Care Act. Obama joined President Biden and Vice President Harris in marking the 12th anniversary of the law. The White House says since President Biden took office, enrollment and coverage through the ACA is at its highest level.
The ACA hasn't just survived, it's pretty darn popular.
4 out of 5 Americans can find quality coverage for under $10 a month.
President Biden also announced new actions to improve the ACA, fixing the so-called family glitch to lower health care costs for nearly 1 million Americans and help 200,000 uninsured people gain coverage. The change is scheduled to take effect in January. Democrats say congressional leaders reached a deal today to approve $10 billion in additional funding to fight COVID. But Republicans say that deal could come with strings attached. Washington correspondent Alexandra Limon explains.
On Capitol Hill, congressional leaders reached a tentative agreement on another round of COVID relief, but not everyone is on board.
Congress wants to spend more money for future COVID, for future vaccines, for future variants, when there's no need to do so.
Despite the objections of some, like Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said Congress will approve $10 billion in additional funding.
Putting in the work today to keep our nation prepared against new variants will make it less likely that we get caught off guard.
The money Congress has agreed to will go toward continuing to provide free COVID vaccines and tests to Americans, as well as therapeutic treatments. But the $10 billion Congress plans to approve is much less than the $22 billion President Biden was hoping for. President Biden had said that without more funding from Congress, critical supplies could begin to run out. Now the White House says this package from Congress is a jumping-off point.
This does not, will obviously not meet all of those needs, dire needs.
But some Republicans are also considering tying passage of the $10 billion agreement to renewal of Title 42, the pandemic rule that keeps most asylum seekers out of the U.S. In Washington, Alexandra Limon.
Now to Texas, where another tornado is adding to the destruction there. This is aerial footage of damaged houses, fallen trees, and you also see some power lines after a storm rolled through North Texas last night. The National Weather Service confirms an EF2 tornado with 112 miles per hour winds hit Johnson County, just 30 miles south of Fort Worth. Strong winds surging up to 70 miles an hour blew lake bed dust across eastern Idaho. The National Weather Service reports the dust storm reduced visibility on major highways and was followed by what many are calling mud rain, where raindrops mixed with dust in the air. A local news station says Idahoans will have to put a car wash to their spring cleaning to-do list. They say cars have never looked so dirty. Coming up, a new warning about a popular payment app, how you can protect yourself and your wallet. Political turmoil in Pakistan is affecting the investor sector. This after Prime Minister Imran Khan dissolved parliament and accused the U.S. of plotting a regime change. The uncertainty in the South Asian country plunging their stock index down 1,200 points yesterday. Today, the country, however, coming out of trading 26 points in the green. But the value of the Pakistani rupee continues to fall against the U.S. dollar. Traders in the country say share prices will also continue to fall until the country moves into a new government. In other national consumer news, European finance ministers meeting today to discuss potential sanctions on Russia. The EU strongly considering sanctions on Russian oil and Russian coal, but even with the recent outrage at images of destruction and civilian deaths in Ukraine, European allies seem split. Poland urging Europe to quickly cut off Russian energy, while Germany says it wants to slowly phase out coal and oil imports over several months.
Preserving the unity of the 27 member states when we are deciding on sanctions is absolutely key, because the efficiency of sanctions is directly linked to the unity of the 27 member states.
The French finance minister highlighting the importance of unity over a quick decision, but with mounting pressure for tougher sanctions, it is unclear how long the EU can continue to hold off on sanctioning Russian energy. There's a new warning about a popular payment app as more and more consumers are getting duped by fraudsters impersonating banks, urging them to send money. Some victims are even claiming they've lost thousands of dollars. Here's ABC's Rebecca Jarvis with how you can protect yourself.
It was devastating.
Special education teacher Kylie Watson worked for months to save for her maternity leave. Then, the Pennsylvania mom received these concerning texts claiming to be from Wells Fargo.
They asked me if I had authorized $3,500.
Watson says she only answered the follow-up phone calls after searching online and finding the number calling her seemed to be from Wells Fargo.
He wanted me to log into my Wells Fargo banking app, click on Zelle, and then I saw 2 transactions and the money was gone. I didn't authorize anything.
Zelle is a mobile payment transfer service embedded in your banking app that allows you to send money to people directly between bank accounts. Watson's claim for a refund was denied.
$3,500. That's for our mortgage. That's for groceries.
ABC stations across the country reporting on customers saying they've lost thousands through their Zelle accounts from fake bank texts and phone calls claiming to be from Wells Fargo.
It's just scary.
Cynthia Marin telling San Francisco's 7 on Your Side she lost $1,700.
The money's gone.
This Wells Fargo customer telling Charlotte, North Carolina's Action 9's I-Team she lost $3,500.
It's my savings.
Federal Regulation E was put in place to protect consumers using electronic fund transfer services like Zelle from fraud, including unauthorized payments.
One of the reasons that Zelle is being abused by scammers is that they are taking advantage of a loophole in Reg E about what is an authorized payment versus what is an unauthorized payment.
And since it appears that these fraudulent transactions were authorized by consumers, the banks are not liable.
If the fraudster can convince you to send the money willingly, even if it's through fraudulent means, then you are not protected. That transaction is considered authorized under current federal regulations.
The National Consumers League says the regulation needs to change.
We think it's time to fix this loophole. The evidence is clear that millions of consumers are at risk.
After the ABC stations and GMA contacted Wells Fargo, these customers say they received full refunds. The company telling GMA, "We are actively working to raise awareness of common scams. When a customer files a claim, we follow the applicable laws and regulatory guidance, including Regulation E, based on the facts of their situation."
Again, that was Rebecca Jarvis reporting. The share price of Twitter sent flying after Tesla founder Elon Musk disclosed he's buying about 9% of the company. That's over 73 million shares. That makes Musk the biggest single shareholder of Twitter stock.
I do this because if I don't share her story, we don't make change.
Coming up, turning grief into a message for change. See what a mother of a teenager hit and killed by a car in Layton is encouraging other drivers to do.
Live from Utah's CW30. ABC4 News at 7:30 starts now.
Welcome back. We're learning today about the death of a skier at the Park City Mountain Resort. The Summit County Sheriff's Office says the 21-year-old was out skiing with his girlfriend and a friend. Police say the two made it to the bottom of the mountain, but the victim never showed up. We're told Ski Patrol found the man at the bottom of a small cliff near the Temptation Run. He was airlifted to the University of Utah Hospital, but later died. No names have been released and an investigation is underway. And a Salt Lake City woman fell to her death yesterday. 34-year-old Margaret Oswald was near her campsite in the Grand Canyon National Park when she fell 20 feet. It was the 6th day of a private boating expedition, and when members of the group found Oswald, they say she wasn't responding, so they began CPR and contacted park officials. But by that point, it was dark outside, so officials called in the state's public safety department for an emergency life flight. But when they arrived, she was dead. The National Park Service is investigating the incident. An ongoing concern on the roads is distracted drivers. In fact, April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month. For some Utah families, the message of paying attention behind the wheel comes with extreme heartbreak. ABC4's Curtis Booker talked with a mother whose daughter died from a distracted driver.
I share her story because, for one, we've got to change. And I know Bailey that's what she would want me to do.
It was 6 years ago while 17-year-old Bailey DiBernardo and a classmate were on their way to school when they were tragically struck.
I honestly did not believe it was my daughter.
Layton police say the driver of a pickup truck hit Bailey and her classmate in a crosswalk on Fort Lane, throwing Bailey down the street. Police say at some point a second car ran Bailey over, dragging her body even further down the road. Bailey died from her injuries, while her classmate survived. It's a day Christina Morris will never forget.
This had taken away the thing I had, everything that existed in me.
Bailey leaving behind a family mourning, including a brother who will never know her, and a younger sister still heavily impacted by this incident.
She is scared to death to walk across the crosswalk at her school.
Christina Morris says she's been working with zero fatalities and continues to share Bailey's story for 2 reasons.
It could happen to anybody. All it takes is making a bad decision and taking your eyes off of the road.
She also says both drivers and pedestrians should take responsibility to avoid these tragedies from happening.
We should not be multitasking while we're driving.
Christina Morris says she doesn't want more families living through the same nightmare she and her family have had to endure these past 6 years.
The way that they drove that day took my daughter's life.
Again, that was ABC4's Curtis Booker reporting. Morris says on her daily jogs, she still sees distracted drivers near the crosswalk where her daughter lost her life. Her hope is people will be more aware behind the wheel so more people don't lose their lives due to a deadly split decision. Today, Intermountain Healthcare has officially merged with Colorado hospital group SCL Health. SCL is a nonprofit Catholic healthcare system founded by the Sisters of Charity of Leavenworth back in 1864. Intermountain says merging 2 leading nonprofit healthcare organizations will provide high-quality, accessible healthcare to more patients and communities, not only in Utah, but also Idaho, Nevada, Colorado, Montana, Wyoming, and Kansas. Now that the merger is complete, the group will operate 33 hospitals and employ 59,000 caregivers. The airline industry continues to struggle with staffing as more flights are being scheduled. Pilots tell me they're being overworked and are dealing with poor scheduling practices. However, they add they hopefully have a solution to fix this. A mix of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Great Resignation is plaguing the airline industry. Pilots say they're fed up with how they're being treated, especially ones that work for Delta.
The airline is staffing more flights than pilots that they have available to do the flying. And our pilots who were frontline leaders during the pandemic have picked up a record amount of overtime.
Captain Evan Bach is a pilot for Delta and also the vice chairman of the communications committee for Delta's Master Executive Council. He says he and his colleagues are continually working on their days off and want management to step in before it gets worse.
So far, our pilots are tired, they're frustrated, they're fatigued, and we want management to come to the table and work with us on common sense solutions.
Bach says the pilots love their job and love working for Delta, but they're at a crossroads. He adds there are too many flights and not enough staff.
Our concern is that there's not enough buffer in the system for a bad weather day, one of our big hubs, or for mechanical issues, any kind of irregular operation.
The pilots have already picketed at other airports, including LAX. The pilots are seen holding signs in which some of them say, "If I look tired, it's because I am." Fatiguing schedules equals poor reliability. Bach adds it's up to Delta management to fix this.
It's on them to come to us and work on solutions. The ball's in the company's court.
We reached out to Delta for a statement, but have yet to hear back. The pilots will be picketing at the Salt Lake City International Airport this Thursday from 10 in the morning to noon at Terminal 1. They hope to get the attention of airline management. Still ahead, a program is bringing new homes to the Navajo Nation. How University of Utah students are playing a key role in making it happen. The University of Utah is working with local tribal leaders and Navajo Nation to build sustainable, affordable homes for people in the community. Here's ABC4 Southern Utah correspondent Jordan Verdadero with how it works.
Design, Build, Utah. It's a program that started 2 decades ago when a University of Utah alumni saw a need with San Juan County residents living in Navajo Nation.
For a Navajo family selected by the local chapter, and that chapter also helps fund the materials for the project.
As of this year, 16 houses and several projects have been constructed in the area by students, allowing recipients to help build so they can possibly expand their homes in the future.
Part of the architectural challenge is to try and figure out and how to supply various energy needs, water and so forth locally on site.
These off-grid projects create challenges as most residents in the area are living in poverty. Instructor Atsushi Yamamoto says the lack of infrastructure in the area makes the job more difficult, especially with water lines.
Sometimes it's happened next year, but typically they have to wait 3 years or more.
He says once people move into their new eco-friendly homes, they go without water and electricity for a while. Dr. Keith Diaz-Moore says inflation also caused costs to rise about 20% compared to previous years.
And then how do you design an environment appropriate for the culture of the place, and yet doing so in a deeply affordable way.
Leaders from the university say by teaming up with Navajo Nation, both parties empower one another and enable people to be self-sufficient. Reporting in Hurricane, Jordan Verdadero, ABC4 News.
With our drought dropping Lake Powell's water levels to historic lows, researchers are taking advantage of the opportunity to learn more about the shrinking lake. The sediment that built up over the lake's 6-decade history is now being revealed. This gives researchers with the University of Utah a better look at how sedimentary formations came to be and where the easily windblown sediments will end up. Geologists say it's a rare chance to look into the reservoir's past and learn how it might change in the future. They say the study is among the first of its kind. Springtime is here, and the Division of Wildlife Resources says that means rattlesnakes are too. The DWR says just knowing a bit about them can help keep you and the snakes safe. Like that the reptiles will try to avoid you at all costs and will only strike if it feels threatened and that there is no way to escape. If you see one, the best thing you can do is give it plenty of space and make sure your dogs are safe too. Keep them on a leash. It's illegal in the Beehive State to harass or kill a rattlesnake unless you are defending yourself or another person. All right, you're taking a live look towards St. George. Nothing but blue skies and beautiful Red Rock down in southern Utah. We'll have your full weather forecast when we come back.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Alana Brophy. Weather rates certified 11 years in a row.
This is what spring in Utah looks like. Well, it was this morning in Utah County. Woodland Hills, we've got the wild turkeys gobbling up food, but also snow on the ground, 3 inches. Recorded there in Woodland Hills. Thanks to Peggy Sorensen for sending that our way. Many of us woke up to some spring snow in the northern half of the state on the grassy areas, but at this hour, that wet weather waning. We've got gusty conditions holding on with a couple of wind advisories holding steady. We will see the winds wanting to stick around for a portion of the state. Cold temperatures into tonight, and if you like the warmth, we do rebound. I'll show you exactly when and how long the warmth sticks around before, well, another little quick hit from the cold. Very, very active in Utah when it comes to our spring conditions. Taking a look at what it looked like at downtown Salt Lake City from the ABC4 camera here at the studio, our Colonial Flag Tower camera showing that we had breezy conditions throughout the valleys, and that really is the case as we make it through the evening. We won't really see those winds relax until tomorrow, and we had some big gusts. Our higher peaks picking up big numbers, 97 miles per hour in a peak just above Manti, 74 miles per hour at Snow Basin, Snowbirds, the mountains, getting gusty conditions, but also Evanston and Price, where that high wind warning was in effect and holding steady. We saw many gusts in the 50s throughout the state. That does include places like Park Valley, Promontory Point at Sugar House, clocking a 53 mile per hour wind gust. We still had those active alerts starting to dwindle tonight, many of them expiring at 6, some holding on through midnight, mainly on the eastern side of the state. Those current wind gusts posting big numbers in Cache Valley, Evanston, Castle Country, Moab. So we are not finished, and we won't be. The wind switched directions today after the cold front came through, so a more northwesterly flow, which feels chilly. We are going to see the system to the north exit, and when it does, that's when we'll truly relax, but the winds hold on until it totally clears the area. The cold front swept through southern Utah, and that will open the door for cooler air to move into the southern half of the state as we head into tomorrow. The precipitation was showery in northern Utah and has since dwindled. We saw those snow levels dropping. Temperatures were below average today. We're going to stay in the 40s and bottom out right around freezing. Many locations will dip below that into tonight. So if you've got sensitive vegetation, maybe the fruit trees are blooming, you want to be careful with those. Frigid for tonight with a lot of 20s expected, especially on the eastern side of the state. We'll stay below average with daytime highs for tomorrow. It will be sunny, it will be dry, but it'll be a little cooler. That northwest flow always kind of gets you. And then heading into Thursday, more sunshine, high pressure takes control, and the temperatures definitely going to rebound. Okay, so Uinta Basin and Grand County, the two areas that have a freeze warning going into effect at midnight. These areas dropping into the low to mid 20s for overnight lows. So this is the spot you want to be extra careful if you've got that sensitive vegetation. 40s and 50s for tomorrow. We'll see 60 in Moab, low 60s in the Four Corners, 70s in St. George, and that's a step back from where they were. We're going to see a mix of 50s along the I-15 corridor. St. George will warm back up into the 80s as we make it through the weekend. The winds will take hold towards the end of the weekend and into next week, and you notice those temperatures take a tumble. Wasatch Front has the chance of wet weather as a series of fronts will impact us for the weekend. Our warming trend through Friday looks pretty nice. Sunshine on Friday, and then another chance of some spring snow by Tuesday. To stay on top of any weather changes, download the ABC4 Weather app. It's really easy to do. You take a picture of that QR code that you just popped up on your screen with your phone. It takes you to the App Store. You can download for free, and we can be there for you.
Whereas Astrotourism is anticipated to generate nearly $6 billion and support over 113,000 new jobs in the American Southwest over the next decade.
That was just part of Governor Spencer Cox's speech declaring April Dark Skies Month. Earlier today, ABC4's Emily Clark sat down with the Utah Office of Tourism, to talk about dark skies in Utah and Astrotourism. Take a look.
Thanks so much for joining us. Let's first talk about Astrotourism.
Yeah.
Kind of a big word.
It is a
big
word.
But a cool opportunity. So explain what it is and why Utah really is right in the middle of it all.
Yeah, so it's tourism related to dark skies and the exploration of our astronomy. Utah is a leader in certified dark sky areas. Not many people realize that. All 5 of our national parks are certified as dark skies, as well as 10 state parks and other areas, and a couple of communities as well.
Okay, I don't want to sound kind of lame here, but dark skies just mean you've got those open skies, you can see everything, and it's really dark.
Yeah, and free from light pollution, which is a really important part of that designation, is making sure that it's free from light, and that it also celebrates and programs around dark skies activities. So if you have a dark sky certification, like for instance Zion National Park or Antelope Island State Park, they have programs and activities throughout the year that you can take advantage of.
You know, when I was thinking in my mind different places, Antelope Island did not come to mind.
Yeah, it's
but that makes a lot of sense.
It does. Yeah, I think what people expect is that rural Utah is the only place that you can go to experience dark skies, but in fact, dark skies are open to all Utahns, even those who live along the Wasatch Front. So even if it's taking a trip to Antelope Island State Park or getting to another area nearby, you can certainly celebrate those dark skies even in your own backyard. taking advantage of those dark views and enjoying those opportunities even in your own backyard.
Okay, so it's really cool, but it also promotes safe and responsible travel. So talk
Yeah.
about that part of all this as well.
Yeah, I think that's what's really important. We have a Forever Mighty initiative that's intended to create stewardship and responsible travel and exploration of our state, and that's what dark sky tourism really promotes, is thoughtful, slow tourism, people who usually explore the dark skies, stay overnight, sometimes multiple nights to have those experiences, and that's great for our communities. And it's also really low impact. These people are coming in, they're getting out their telescope or their photography equipment and taking advantage of those dark skies and really not impacting the area around them, whether it's a community or a state park. So it's low impact as well as economically impactful.
Okay, so the month of April, we kind of talked a bit with Antelope Island, but what can all of us here in the state of Utah do to take advantage of this really cool opportunity we have in our own backyards?
Yeah, I would urge all Utahns to go to their nearest state park and find out if it is dark sky certified and find out what programs and opportunities there are there. All dark sky certified areas usually have some sort of public event or activity, and especially during the month of April, during Dark Skies Month. So I encourage people to go to their local state park and see what programs are available to them, and certainly go to visitutah.com/stars, which is the Utah Office of Tourism's website, to learn more about Astrotourism.
Okay, that's a good picture to talk about Astrotourism right there, because that kind of tells a story.
That's Gooseneck State Park right there.
In one picture right there.
Exactly. That could be you looking out over that beautiful night sky.
Coming up, flight attendants got creative, keeping passengers busy during a delay. How they did it, coming up.